The Florida State Board of Education approved a ban on classroom instruction about sexual orientation and gender identity for all grades. This is an expansion of an initial ban signed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, which banned instruction on the subjects up to third grade. For more on this, I want to bring in Miami Herald State government reporter Ana Ceballos. Ana, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, good morning.
Can you explain for our viewers, what does this expansion mean for the LGBTQ community?
So this expansion is really an administrative rule that would go beyond what the legislature approved last year that applied only to classroom instruction in K through third grade. So it really impacted early elementary school kids. And now it really applies to all grades, including 11th grade, 12th grade. And it really does say that teachers should be barred from explicitly instructing about sexual orientation and gender identity. This has obviously caused some concern with some of the members of the LGBT community, saying that teachers are going to be scared or worried about even bringing up certain discussions, and that should not be happening. And they're concerned that they're going to be more marginalized in schools.
You know, I just want to point out that this is not just about the LGBTQ community. It's about the community in general, right? It's about the school community and the conversations that people feel comfortable having. You don't have to be part of that community to want to have an open discussion about this sort of thing. So that's aside. In the meantime, Governor Ron DeSantis held an event in South Carolina last night. What were some of the things that were discussed there?
So Governor Ron DeSantis is really hitting he's traveling across the country, but he's really hitting like some of the early presidential voting states. He has not announced for president yet, but he has been going around the country trying to promote what he says is the Florida blueprint for what a successful state should look like across the country. And he was talking really about the so-called woke virus really infiltrating all the American institutions, including schools. He really attacked diversity and inclusion efforts. He was talking about the K through 12 restrictions on certain instruction about gender identity. So he's really promoting some of the key education initiatives that he's been pushing here in Florida. And I think we can expect a lot more from that messaging across the country as he travels around the country.
As you know, the governor and Disney have been in a very tight battle. Where does the fight stand now? And is it hurting support for the governor? We've seen the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, attack Governor DeSantis over his position on Disney. Disney, a few weeks ago, it was reported that Disney sort of got the better of the governor when they figured out a loophole that enabled them to continue doing what they were doing. So just for people who may not know where it all stands now, just break down what this issue is about.
Yeah. Right. So the clip notes of this
the clip notes. There you go.
Scandal has been really that, again, Disney got in the crosshairs of the governor when he vocally opposed this, exactly the provisions that we're talking about regarding sexual orientation and gender identity in the classroom. And DeSantis decided to appoint a board that would essentially control a special taxing district that Disney has. And as that was happening, Disney tried to pass did approve a development deal that DeSantis said was should be nullified because it's not appropriate that they went against the will of the voters or the legislature. So right now what we're seeing is DeSantis' appointed Disney board is trying to nullify a development contract approved by the former Disney controlled board. And it's very much likely going to end up in court, however this goes. But for now, DeSantis has even talked about developing land in around Disneyland, including some affordable housing, or perhaps even he has joked about a state prison. So it's certainly escalating, and whether or not it plays well for Republican voters remains to be seen. He has certainly gotten some criticism from former President Donald Trump, former Governor Chris Christie. Some Republicans are saying that it's not very Republican of him to be pushing such a crackdown on a large corporation that is so key to the economy in Florida. So
can I ask
it looks like he's getting a lot of pushback.
Let me ask you a follow-up to that, Ana, because we were talking about this yesterday, Anne-Marie and I. It strikes me, we mentioned that the governor was just in South Carolina, where he mentioned the word woke and wokeness dozens of times in his speech. But we know, as we've reported here, that Florida, specifically South Florida and Miami, is facing a fuel shortage, for example. People can't get gasoline. And there's some people going, look, it's great that you can get on Fox News and talk about wokeness, and it's great that you can attack the LGBTQ community with some of these policies you're implementing or go after Disney over wokeness. But there are real issues that are facing Floridians right now. And where is the governor on those issues? And you're starting to see even Republicans suggesting that something needs to happen here.
Right. I mean, one thing that we have seen on the political arena, at least, again, DeSantis is not really announced for president, but we have started seeing former President Donald Trump, who's expected to be his chief rival, obviously, for the GOP nomination, racking up some key endorsements from the GOP Florida delegation. And one of those congressmen is Congressman Greg Steube, and he's explicitly talked about that issue, saying, you know, DeSantis was elected or reelected for 4 more years to govern Florida, and he should be focusing on Florida issues and not be traveling across the country. So you are starting to see some Republicans publicly criticize the governor, which you haven't really seen before. And it's really as the expected announcement for his presidential run is really nearing. He's expected to announce maybe in a month or 2. So you're starting to see the lanes and the preferences forming in this potential primary race.
All right, Ana, maybe we'll be talking to you again soon then.
I hope so.
Ana Ceballos, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.